Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to show y'all how to wire wrap. This is fused glass, but you could do any kind of flat back undrilled cabochon or tumbled stone or just what have you. And we're going to be using the stone or piece of glass of your choice and some 20 gauge dead soft wire. Here I'm using Parawire. There'll be links for all the tools and materials down below in the video description. So let's get started. So here we have our cabochon, and it looks to be about 35, almost 40 millimeters by, again, around closer to 35. And then it's about half a centimeter thick, it looks like. And then we're using 20 gauge dead soft silver plated silver Parawire. And you don't really need a whole lot of tools for this one. We have flush cutters, we have round nose pliers, we have dog hair covered nylon jaw pliers, and I'm actually missing one of the screws out of, but it still works. As well as a pen or a knitting needle or a mandrel or just whatever. I'm going to pull myself off quite a bit, about almost a yard of this 20 gauge wire. And then I'm going to measure that off again. And I like to give myself way more than what I need, or what I think I'll need, because there's no telling, you know, what might end up happening in a freeform pendant like this. And then so I have two lengths, very similar in length, but it's whenever I'm working on a freeform piece like this, the last thing I want is to be limited by how much wire I have. And with the 20 gauge, it comes in super handy to be able to, even just something about 1.5 inches to 2 inches long, you can use to make a wrapped bead link out of for earrings or for a bracelet or a necklace, or just, you know, so the scrap wire isn't really scrap, it's just second use. So we're going to start. I'm going to come in about 5 inches from the ends of our wire here, and I'm going to just put it onto the pen or ring mandrel or knitting needle or whatever you have, and without letting the wires cross, like keeping them parallel to each other, I'm just going to wrap around twice. And now we're here, and if this is the head and the pendant is going to be the body, this is the neck, and so I'm going to wrap these shorter wires around the neck. Twice. Just good and secure. And you can see it kind of offset a little bit. You know, it's not a perfect balloon, but that works out perfectly because now this will jut out very nicely over the front of our pendant. And we get to decide now if, and y'all, this is just me making my pendant. You do yours however makes you happy. Like, you know, if you want it diagonal or long ways, or, you know, just do what makes you happy because it's your piece of art. But I think I want to do this one. I really like the diamond shape where it's kind of offset like this. And so now you can see I've got these two wires that are coming down the back side. So I'm just going to bend this like that right there, and then wrap it around the base. And I want to give myself a little bit more than what I'll think I'll need to go around comfortably, because I want to be able to cinch it down. And now I'm actually going to set my cabochon off to the side, and using my fingernail, I'm going to force a bend in the wire, just like that. And what this will do is now whenever I'm wrapping, it won't reduce this loop that I've made, and it'll let me just, you know, just one time around is all I really need, just enough to secure it. But now I can take my cabochon and put it right back in like that. And I think I'm going to do another layer. So you can see how it's exiting across the back here. And I'm just working to keep both of my wires next to each other, kind of bending in the same way and pattern. And then I'm going to bring it to the center back again. And I'm going to do that same forcing a bend, and then just wrapping it around this like core spine wire almost in the back. Just one rotation. And that again acts and behaves to stabilize our wrapping. Now, and everything's still kind of loose and weird right now. We'll deal with that. And so now we can do something very similarly up at the top. But, oh, and it just want to jump right out. It wants to jump right out. But that's why you got to keep a pretty decently firm grip on it. But now with this one exiting over here, I'm actually going to wrap around to the top. Again, using my hands, I mean, I don't know if you can see, my fingers are almost turning white. I'm gripping so firmly. But with the fused glass and the dead soft wire, like, don't be afraid to, like, really manhandle it. Or strong arm it, or whatever you want to, whatever your term of choice is. And so with this one, I'm actually, instead of stabilizing to the spine right away, I'm going to give it a second wrap around. And then I'm going to wrap around the neck. Just like that. And so now you can see, I mean, technically, I'm going to shake the crap out of it. This is holding it. You know, you can still pull it out, which that's a problem. And that's a problem we'd like to avoid. So, there we go. So now that I have a basic shape of what we're going to be doing, kind of get these side wires off to the side a little bit more. I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'm going to kind of cram them in between these two, just to make some space, and I'm going to bend off to one side, and then off to another side. And that tightens it down quite a bit more, to where, I mean, if I forced it, I could still pull it through, but it's not going to be as easy. And at this point, you can still kind of shift around and twist things to make sure that they stay centered up in a center line. And we can come through here and open these up a little bit more. I'm actually just using my thumbnail to push up. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to push kind of down, 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 down. Kind of just keeping them in line with each other. Up. There we go. And now here on this side, I'm actually going to flip around to the back. And again, separating these two wires. I just recently broke both of my thumbnails off, so I feel like I'm missing a tool. I'm just coming around to the back side here and kind of getting my pliers in and tightening it up some. There we go. Now, and up here it's still really like just wonky. So let's deal with that. And at this point, I'm going to be using these 4 wires coming off the side for a lot of stabilization. So you could add beads to it, if that makes you happy. And what I'm going to do over here is there's a little bit of space right here under this wire, like this one right here. So I'm going to open up the top one as well, and I'm just going to slide this wire in between those two and the stone. And I'm just going to kind of loop it around itself, and that gives us a stabilization that way a little bit. And I'm just going to, sorry, I don't want my hands to get in the way, but for any of y'all crafting along with me, you know how difficult getting the wire to behave can be. So just wrapping around the side there. And now I'm actually just going to use the tail of this wire to climb back up this one. And there's a little bit of a space right there that keeps opening up, so I'm actually going to thread through both of those, coming around from the back side. That's how it's looking on the back. And really, with this style of wrapping, there's like no way of getting two pieces to be exactly the same. But that's part of the fun of it. And so I'm just going to make a little spiral coming down this way. And it's just going to sit right there on the shoulder. And with these ones, pieces like this to me are kind of the opposite of the intricate, symmetrical, neat and tidy wire weaving. This is just a messy, organic, just mess of a thing, and I love it. And if you don't like those side wires, you can totally smush them off to the side, but on the back. And they will still be serving their purpose of stabilizing that side. So now I want to maintain this duplicate wire a little bit where there's two wires happening. So I'm going to take and I'm going to train both of them around into a loop, and this will take some practice, but the trick to it is mostly to not let one cross over the other. You want to keep it like if you're drawing and holding two pens side by side, you want them to stay constantly side by side, if that makes sense. And if not, then just have fun with it. It's art. There's no wrong way of doing it. So, and also over here on the edge where I want it to end up is really hard to wrap on, so I'm just wrapping here on the front of the stone, and then letting it come over to the side. And I'm going to wrap around to here. I'm going to hook through the back, because again, I want to stabilize it. And I'm just pulling through as best I can. There we go. And if your wire starts to get a little wonky and you don't want it to be, you can use your fingers to straighten it, or you can come in with your nylon jaw pliers. That's why I always keep them on hand. It's because you never know when you're going to want something tidied up some. But yeah, so there's that. And already still, you can see there's a little bit of movement there, but we haven't done our stabilizing down here on this side yet. So it's grounded, I'm coming through, kind of encouraging that little twist, curly cue to happen. And just like that. And now from here, I'm actually going to dip down through from behind on these guys. I'm going to try to get them to both come through the same side. There we go. So I'm just grabbing it with my pliers. You could use some bent nose or just whatever you have on hand. So just kind of smushing around. And you can see how those are coming down. And this is, it's stable. Much more stable than what it was, for sure. Oops. And you can just throw it on the table. But here, I'm, again, going to brace it nice and firm, and I'm going to push these up. And I'm going to start with this little bit right here. I'm just going to coil him down into a spiral. So grabbing as close to the tip of the wire and the tip of the pliers as I can, and then just curling it down. And you can get in here with your nylon jaw to make that a little flatter. There we go. As well as to coil it down tighter. Just using the meat of my thumb. Like you can see, that left it like an imprint. My hands are always sore after wire wrapping, but that's just part of it. You get the hang of it and get used to it. So there's that. And now I just wrapped that one kind of around to, again, to try to maintain that doubled wire look. And now that we're here on the back, I'm just going to grab the tip of that one, and I'm going to tuck it in wherever it will grab. And that way there's no loose wires. Like, you want to be able to wear this over a knit sweater is the goal with all of my wire wrapping. Is it's like, I want this to like be actually functional. And I'm going through and just reestablishing the bail, making sure it's nice and even. And now we've just got this one little lonely guy over here. And I think maybe adding some beads on it would be super cool. Like, there's a lot of different colors going on in this fused glass. I'd love to be able to play off of this, I mean, almost, gosh, I don't even know how to describe that. It's so vibrant, it's so pretty. But then I also love these coppery flowers over here. Morning glories they look like. So maybe if we threaded some beads on, we could do a bead frame. But I also think that just maybe doing a little rosette right here. And it's not going to look exactly the same because it's still just one wire. But if you just keep spiraling quite messily on itself, it'll give you a nice little, you know, rosette. I'm going to do one more full rotation, I think, before, and I don't want this guy to get snagged. Like, that's where a lot of movement is. So to tie that down, I'm actually going to thread this through that spiral. Sorry for all the loud traffic noises too. It's a beautiful day and we have the windows open, and we live on a pretty busy street, so it's just, there's no winning. It's either loud air conditioner noises or loud traffic noises. Okay, so that's stabilized through now. And I'm just gonna loop this around to the back. And I think I'm gonna pass it through this wire that's right here. And just spiral it down on itself. That's how I finish my ends on these messy organic pieces. Which is definitely a messy organic piece. But, kinda love it. So just smushing, I mean, scientific smush technique right here, guys. Technical terminology. And then I'm going to open up the bail a little bit more. And so that's our piece. And this is not going anywhere. Like, I would have to wrench this apart and, like, kind of break it to get it to come undone. Now this wire is poking out kind of funny. I don't like how much farther it's sticking out compared to the others. So I'm just going to come around here to the back and try to isolate which wire, how far back I can get it. But I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to cinch that down. And that kind of messed it up horribly. And then I'm just going to push it with my fingernails. So there we go. So I kind of liked it better before I did that, but oh well. There we go. So now we have these like little waves, these little spirals, and it's just, it's a fun little piece. Hey everybody! Thanks for joining me for this tutorial. I hope that it was helpful for you. And that maybe it encourages you to not be afraid. Don't be afraid to experiment, you guys. Like, this isn't my favorite piece in the whole wide world that I've ever made my entire life, but I like it, and I think it's pretty, and I'm going to put it for sale in my booth. And someone's going to see it and fall absolutely in love with it and be like, oh my god, this is my favorite thing ever. And that's awesome. That's the point of this. Art isn't just for me, it's for everybody. Like, my art isn't just for me, it's for everybody. And I wanted to share that with y'all a little bit. So that, and it's really hard to beat getting a pendant made in like 30 minutes instead of 12 hours with the wire weaving. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or ideas, I would love to hear from you. And that's, again, how the back looks. Always room for progress and improvement. If you enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of, and it matches my outfit, you guys. Okay, I just noticed that, sorry. If you enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, please check me out on Patreon. There'll be links down in the video description below, as well as hopefully a thing popping up on the screen, where you can go and watch a more in-depth detail video about, my Patreon and what we do over there. But we do like monthly craft crates and giveaways and all sorts of stuff. But all of your support and encouragement is appreciated, even if it's just like liking and sharing and subscribing. Like I say, oh, even if it's just, but it's like, I really appreciate all of y'all's support, and every time you guys comment and like everything, it's like it helps keep this whole ball going, whole ball rolling. Words are hard. But yeah, thanks guys. I'll see y'all around. Happy crafting. Bye.